This is the one disclaimer before the review starts. This video does involve Super Episode 47 information in great detail. So if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, I recommend that you turn away from the video right now. Alright, are you still here? Well then, welcome to Episode 47 review of Dragon Ball Super SOS from the future. A new black enemy appears. Now we're just going to jump right into this. Before I do that, I will say that there is a new opening. We will discuss it either in this video or in another video. I think that things shown in this opening are going to bring up discussions alone, much less the fact that we got a brand new character that we didn't even know about, hasn't been promoted. Nobody knew he existed until this episode. And the theories are running wild. Is he a Kai? Is he a Makai Oshin? Who knows? He looks like a cooler looking Supreme Kai, if you ask me. But anyway, we'll go right into the episode because that's what you all came here for. So we jump into a dystopian future where a familiar face is running from someone. This is something we saw in the last episode the week prior, and it's continuing now, and we see a shadowy figure chasing him throughout the sky as he's trying to get away. He hides against the wall, and it seems like he disappears. Well, this enemy disappears, so Trunks is safe. So he meets with his mother, who happens to be in some kind of bunker where she's working on a machine very similar to what we saw the present timeline Bulma working on, strange enough. And as it turns out, this is the fuel source, and this is their last hope. Trunks and Bulma have a touching moment where we find out they haven't seen each other for a year, give or take, as she says that many lives were lost to make this fuel. So chances are that she had other people helping her at one point, that they were killed by this shadowy figure in some way. So now it's only her, and apparently the Yarn in Capsule Corp right now is probably too dangerous. We'll find out more about that later. But anyway, at this moment they both decide that they're going to go find Mai, and the plan is for them all to help Trunks get to the time machine, as it's been a whole year. So I just want to say, Trunks, I gotta tell you, I feel so bad for this guy. He first with the androids, you thought his world was bad enough when he saw his mentor Gohan just completely dead in the street. And then after he finally saves the future, this new mysterious enemy comes in, and he's lost so much already, which leads to this next scene, which I thought was really, really terrible in the feels department. Not a terrible scene, and it really sets the tone for this new arc of Dragon Ball Super, making things a lot more serious than they have been prior to this moment. Because as it turns out, Trunks did not get away from this mysterious shadowy figure, because there's a fog that rolls into the bunker, and it's interesting that this enemy is using all this fog to conceal himself. His body isn't even like, it doesn't even look real. It looks like he's a part of this guy. It's amazing the way that this guy is built up in this episode, throughout the episode, as like this untouchable, unseeable monster that everybody is afraid of. So this monster destroys the area around them, making Trunks have to hold on to Bulma as he tries to protect her. In some way they end up getting blasted apart, and Trunks, to his horror, witnesses his mother in the hands of this dark figure who we will call Black, as they call him in the episode. Or I don't know if they call him that in the episode until the end, but we'll call him Black for now. This mysterious figure named Black is holding his mother by the collar, just without a care. His eyes are glowing red. You could tell that he is a demonic presence. And he takes no time in shooting a ki blast, exploding the entire area, to where Trunks, after he tries to save his mother, just can't do it, because he tries to stop him before he does the ki blast, but Bulma says no, don't worry about, like, go. This is all you. We are relying on you. So Bulma is essentially killed in this moment by the blast. And this scene, I'm actually going to put it on the screen. I'll risk the copyright strike just to show you this and to show you the feelings that you will feel seeing this scene. Her body is just, it disintegrates from nothing. There's a blackness that covers her face, and then you can see her entire being just floating in the wind, where you can only see Black's hand gripping what's left of Bulma's collar. It's worth mentioning that Bulma says that this is a one-way trip that she has given Trunks the fuel for, and she has high hopes, and she really does believe that they will have a way to come back, which lets me know that she believes in herself from the past, which she may be right if what Bulma's working on is what we think it is, which it probably is. So now we're going to cut away to another scene. And you may think this is odd because we went from this serious scene where we just saw a beloved member of the Dragon Ball family just killed in cold blood. Black didn't care at all. To now we go to Goku talking to Piccolo. Apparently he had convinced him to come over and help him harvest his radishes and carrots, because, you know, all these tractoring he's been doing throughout every episode is finally paying off. He's actually proud of his work too. He's like, haha, well, I want to make sure my family has a lot of food. So that's actually pretty cool for Goku. I gotta give it to Goku. He does care about his family when it comes down to it. Of course, that'll kind of change in a minute, because he tells Piccolo that this is training, and Piccolo's, this isn't training, this is work. Then Goku starts to explain how when he and Krillin were training under Master Roshi, they used to do chores all the time, and it made them stronger. It helped them, you know, train. So they begin to do this. Oh, Goten wants to do it, but Chi-Chi's like, no, studies. A child's job is to study. Chi-Chi, okay, this is weird, because last episode I said she treats Goten different than Gohan. But this episode she treated him exactly like Gohan. Like, why? Because he had a test. So she's like, no, you study. And even when they get ready to go, she still tells Goten, like, you need to go be studying. What are you doing, boy? Oh, Chi-Chi, I try to defend you, but it's hard when you do things like this. You hurt my heart. So Goku and Piccolo start to do this training with the radishes, and they're just going fast. Like, I've never seen someone harvest vegetables so fast before. It's crazy. And Piccolo's actually feeling something from this, which says a lot about Piccolo if he's actually feeling training from something as simple as this, when Goku probably is probably nothing to him. In this moment, Krillin comes in and he's like, wow, I'm surprised that Goku's here. And Chi-Chi and Goten was like, what? And he's like, well, Bulma said that Vegeta was already on Beerus's planet. I don't know why I call it Whis' planet. Was already on Beerus's planet training. Goku overhears this, and remember how I said he cared about his family, you know, and all that stuff. And I thought it was really cool that he was actually spending time with his family and Piccolo, who he has neglected as far as anything really, except when it came to the Pan scenes. But just like everyone else does, Piccolo, he trades up from Piccolo and goes to Vegeta, because Vegeta is training with Whis. And at some point, while training with Whis, he turns Super Saiyan Blue, which a lot of people have been complaining about the way this looks. Does it look weird? Incoming new toy, which is why that they don't let head sculpts fit on the body sculpts of older figures, because they want you to buy the new ones. That's a slight tangent, but come on, like, you're telling me a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Vegeta can't fit his head on a regular Super Saiyan Vegeta? What is the excuse for that? Use the same peg. I digress. This is a new toy coming out for you, of course. I love this. I think the light blue hair really, like, flows with the blue color of his gi. And we never saw him in this form, in this clothes. We saw copy Vegeta in these clothes, but not the regular Vegeta. I loved it. I actually like this better than the black, to be honest. I like these gis. I do hope we see the Resurrection F gis again, but that's neither here nor there. Sorry for the little mini tangent I went on there. So he goes on to Beerus's planet, and then he scolds Vegeta for being sneaky and trying to do some training without him. And I thought this scene was very appropriate and actually very important to the episode, because they're trying to show you the two different, like, timelines. Here we have Trunks' timeline where they can barely even, like, there's not even a building that is standing, pretty much. It's all rubble. It's all destroyed because some unknown being has just destroyed this entire planet. It looks like he's taking over the planet to me. I mean, I don't think he's just taking over West City. So you go from that to this, to where we literally have Goku and Vegeta hanging out with a god. Like, Goku shows up and Beerus goes, he sees something in his hand. He's like, oh, did you bring me a gift? And Goku's like, oh yeah, here's lettuce. Just happened to have it. He's like, here's some lettuce. I brought it for you. Even though he was just holding it because he was doing the training earlier with Piccolo. And he's like, oh yeah. Beerus is like, oh, okay, I'll take it. And he's like, my god, it's delicious, but it's not good enough for me. You know, Beerus has to keep his, he doesn't want Goku to know he's too happy. So Whis and Beerus, they quite are happy with the lettuce. But yeah, like, we literally have Goku and Vegeta just chilling with gods, doing, you know, just training for fun, not even for a real cause. While you have, I almost said Goku, while you have Trunks in this other timeline trying just to survive day by day. He's been experiencing this for a year, which goes back to what I said before. I'm so sorry for Trunks, because he not only lost future Gohan, he also just lost his future mother. Well, I guess that's weird to say that. He also just lost future Bulma, though. Like, he also just lost his mother. He saw her disintegrate before his eyes. Well, maybe he didn't see it, but we saw it. And that's tough. Like, he knew when he saw that building explode, she was dead. There was no questioning it. Because she's not a seasoned fighter. She's old. She's frail, despite what Toei would have you think by the way she's drawn. And she's not going to survive that. And it's just a real sad moment. So we go back to this, so we'll go back to the future at this point, where Trunks meets Mai, and he says that Black has learned to read his ki, which could be a little confusing because we all know Saiyans know how to suppress their ki. Just about everybody in Dragon Ball knows how to do that. So I'm thinking what this means is this Black Sama, I don't know why I called him Sama, this black guy, I don't know, that sounds much worse. Anyway, Black is able to sense ki even if it's suppressed. That's how I'm taking it. Like, even if Trunks lowers his ki to the lowest he can do, Black can still sense that, and he knows where he's at. And at this point, I gotta say, it looks like the future is barren. It may only be Mai, Trunks, and Bulma who were living in this future, and now it's just Mai and Trunks. We don't really have any backstory on Trunks and Mai's relationship. Maybe they will delve into that in some flashbacks later on. But Mai meets Trunks. They talk about Bulma, and this is where Trunks starts to cry, as he did in the preview. He's recollecting his mother's death in this moment, because she's like, "What about Bulma? Where's she?" And she didn't even. Maybe she didn't even have to ask that. But anyway, like, they both knew what that was. So he came here alone, even though the plan was for him and Bulma to make it there. Mai muses that she has found some food that's not dog food, which just shows that they aren't eating very well in the future, which is probably why Trunks looks so skinny and so frail. Like, think about it. A Saiyan needs a lot of food in his diet. I don't think that he's getting that from this type of world that he's living in. So their food is really scarce to where they've obviously been eating only animal food. So she pulls out some meat, and then this most adorable cat shows up, the best character of the entire episode. I think I found my favorite character. It's just a little cat. He shows up when he smells the food, and, you know, Mai says something about, like, cats, they forget their owners after 3 days once they're not around them anymore. So apparently Mai and Trunks, or just Mai, took this cat in and, you know, became attached to it. So it was essentially her cat, but they were going to let it go free as well. Trunks allows some of the food to go to the cat, and Mai insists that he gets the food. But Trunks says, no, here, you take it. You should eat this. And she's like, but it's for you. He's like, no, you need it more. And her stomach growls, she blushes, and she eats it happily. Now we go back to what I was saying before, back to compare and contrast. Here we have two people literally just trying to survive on whatever they can find. All they have available is water and animal food, to where they're excited to eat something that isn't for animals. Two, we have Whis, Goku, Vegeta, and they're just, and Beerus, and they're just counting. Maybe they're meditating. Nope, they're getting ready for a big ass bowl of ramen. And I gotta say, this ramen, those boxes that they bring you food from Japan, we need a box that brings ramen like this over. Because I want to try this ramen. If this is what Beerus and Champa go crazy for, this is what I want to see. Because I eat ramen all day, and I don't get that kind of delicious looking food. Like, it had corn, it had meat, it had vegetables, they had lettuce. Oh, it was great compared to before. Like, it's another compare and contrast. They want to show you the difference between the two essential timelines. One timeline is completely gone downhill, and survival is just a challenge in itself, while the other timeline, they're just happy-go-lucky, food all around, everybody has a happy party time. So during their food eating, Goku mentions the Omni King, and then we find out some interesting stuff about the Omni King. Apparently there were once 18 universes, which before the subtitles came out, he said Juhachi, we did, and I was thinking, like, they can't be talking about 18, but they did say 18, just not, her, the female version. And it turns out that there used to be 18 universes, but the Omni King got mad one day, and he destroyed 6 of them. So now there was just 12. Which shows how powerful he is, and Goku's like, wow, he must be strong, but then they're like, no, he doesn't fight. So Goku's like, how is he strong, but he doesn't fight? And then Whis muses that Saiyans are so simple, and they think of everything just so simply as fighting is physical. But essentially, Omni King is not somebody you want to fuck with, so don't fuck with Omni King. But there is something that Whis says that kind of perturbs me a bit. He goes on to say that the Omni King is so powerful, he can defeat any one person, he can defeat any villain, and he can destroy any universe. So it makes me wonder, is this whole thing going to happen? Like, eventually the Omni King is going to step in one day, and maybe Goku Black, maybe somebody else, maybe that Kai from the beginning of the opening that we saw. They're just going to, like, come across the Omni King, and he's just going to, like, snap his fingers, and they're going to die. Like, is that how this arc's going to end? That would be the worst way to do it, but it would be such a troll, and I could see Akira Toriyama doing it just for that reason. But I hope they don't do that. But he does mention that. And sometimes little things that Whis says needs to be taken, needs to be put attention to. Because he said the same thing when it came to bringing back time. And what happened then? They used bringing back time to stop Frieza. So it's just something worth mentioning. I'm sure that's not going to happen, but hopefully that's not the case. Anyway, we go back to the future, and we'll be in the future for the rest of the episode. The compare and contrast here is beautiful. And I also want to just mention on an artistic standpoint, first let me say this, animation of the episode, beautiful, flawless. Anything that wasn't on like perfect levels was near perfect. There was nothing that really just make you cringe. And I'm not talking about in between shots where you take pictures and an eye's messed up or whatever. That's in between shots. You don't know anything about animation if you're going to start doing that. Animation is great. Toei's putting more money to this series now. They're really pushing it. The animation's really improved. And if not perfect, it's at least perfect on the moments it's meant to be perfect. Coming up, and is a perfect example of this. Trunks and Mai are trying to get to Capsule Corp without being noticed by Black, because Black will just essentially just destroy them, and they know this. Mai has a gun, which maybe there's some kind of secret to her gun that makes it so it could hurt someone like Black, or maybe it was just to help her feel safe. I don't know. Of course, hiding from him was a pointless endeavor because they get to Capsule Corp, but Black shows up either way, manipulating the atmosphere around him, and it's really nice. In this scenes here, you can actually see a body shape, and throughout the rest of the episode, he's kind of a demon, but he has no physical form. This episode, you can kind of see semblances of a body showing up, which is really great. The build-up to this guy, already one episode in, and he already seems like the most brutal person ever. How does he get more brutal? I'll tell you right here. He shows up, Trunks goes on, and he goes to try and stop him. He runs up with his sword. He shoots. He doesn't shoot. Well, he does shoot like a ki blast with his sword, which reminded me of Tenkaichi 3, where people with swords had to move, where they could just swish it real fast, and then like little blades of like ki shoots out. It reminded me of that. Black shoots a few ki blasts. Trunk manages to block them with his sword by swinging it about and flinging them in other directions. Of course, Black doesn't let that work because his power is so powerful that this sword eventually is not going to stand up to Trunks. Because Trunks, after that, he rushes towards Black and he goes to hit him with his sword, but Black legitimately just puts a hand out, grabs the sword, holds a ki blast to it, blasts Trunks, making the sword fly away. That's another sword that Trunks has lost. So there's no reason to ask where it came from, because it's gone now. Just like everything, Trunks loses his sword again. How many times has that happened already? So there's not a lot of fighting in this episode. This episode's more about emotion and storytelling, but the fight scene that we have, this moment right here, was really intense. I love this fight scene. This fight scene felt like it was almost at the level of Goku versus Hit in the beginning. Like, it was just so great. Like, this fight scene, the choreography was on point. It was great. This whole scene was great. This whole episode was amazing. The feels are even heavier too, because after that, Mai resolves that he needs to be the one to make it to the future. Not the future, to the present. That she will be the decoy for Black. So she does that. As much as Trunks tries to protest, she goes and she starts to shoot her blast. Black does avoid the blast, though I have a feeling he probably doesn't have to. But I also want to mention that Black's body is covered in fog and like mist, that it looks like he's controlling himself. I love the way that he's manipulating the weather here. I really hope this continues, because this is really amazing. And you can't even see him in this moment. Like, it's just the darkness of the clouds surrounding him. And he shoots a blast at Mai. This, if you thought Bulma hitting the dust was bad, this is even more cataclysmic to your heart and your chest and your feelings, because she is hit by this blast and she's flung into the air and she falls to the ground, limp like a dead fish. As Trunks goes to hold her, there's no movement, and there's a lot of speculation that she lives, which I'm not saying it's not possible because she's in the promotional material, but all I gotta do to say is this: there is a lot of different shows that have had main characters mainly exist in flashbacks. Not to mention, we have Mai in the present timeline, just the kid version, but it's still her. So the voice actress being in other episodes doesn't necessarily mean that Mai survives. And then this moment, it doesn't look like she's alive, because her chest isn't moving, she's not showing any signs of breathing, her body is limp, like a dead woman. It's almost, to me, it seems too obvious that she is dead. And it could be different, but I don't really see how. But yeah, like, there's a lot of characters that live only through flashbacks. A lot of animes do this as well. And I think that they could do that. And it could also show Trunks and Mai's relationship. The way they really are, because we don't know their relationship yet. They may be friends, they may be lovers. That could happen later on, we'll never know. Maybe next episode. But I just wanted to say that if it is possible Mai is dead, her being in the promotional material doesn't really prove much to me, because promoting her could just be to help make the feeling of her death even more powerful. Because it's not the first time. That's all I'm saying. It's not the first time this has happened. Flashbacks exist for a reason. But we'll go past that. At this moment, Black finally stops hiding in the mist. And in another amazing way, like the atmosphere around just turns into a swirl, and he comes through this hole that he made throughout the smoke, and his body is revealed. It is Goku. Well, it looks like Goku, and he's a skinnier looking Goku, which I think this is his design. He has a longer gi on, and he has a malicious look on his face. Goku, well, yeah, we'll call him Goku Black now. Screw it. Goku Black at this point, he just looks at Trunks and he says the most chilling thing. The best way to end this episode is like, "Today is the day you will take your final breath, Saiyan," or Saiyajin. And Nozawa is voicing Goku Black. I also want to mention Sumitomo was on point with this episode. The music was great. They must be paying him more, because the music in this episode was so fitting and so intense. I loved it. The music just helped make the episode. It created the feelings even stronger than they already were. But that's the end of the episode. So we'll go into my predictions now. The next episode, I do think that Black will fight Trunks. Well, if you want to call it a fight. At the end, Trunks is pissed. He is really pissed that Mai is dead. You can see his eyes just flare up with anger. And I do predict, I may be wrong and I'll be okay if I am. I do predict predict that next episode, Trunks will go Super Saiyan. I think that they held that off on this episode because they just wanted to save it for later. And I feel like the next episode is the best way for them to show him using his best power that he has on Black and still failing is the perfect way to show just how powerful this Black is. And I think in the next episode, Trunks will fight Black, but it won't be a very strong fight. If anything, I think Trunks will just barely survive with his life. I think that at this point, I think that Trunks will just barely leave with his life intact, because in the preview, he looks half dead. And everybody's rushing to get him to safety and to get him to medical care before something bad happens. And then we will bring the future and present together. Goku does say something very interesting in this preview that should be mentioned. He's like, oh man, there's a bad guy out there that looks just like me. Me and Vegeta have to go and defeat him. So I do think that they are going to use Bulma's little machine with the blue liquid to create a way for them to go back to the future, and Goku and Vegeta will take him on. I do want to mention I guess it's just convenience. Trunks goes back to the right time period that we're in, because they go 17 years in the future. My thinking is Trunks decided 17 years in the future because that's when Gohan would be an adult. He doesn't even know Goku's alive at this point, keep in mind. He doesn't even know that. So I think he thinks that Gohan will be an adult, and at this point in life, Gohan would be much stronger and much more able to help him defeat Black. And that's why he's going 17 years in the past, and that's why he picked that specific time period. But the next episode, I think that Trunks will come to after his fight with Black. And I do believe that Mai, Pilaf, and maybe Shu, as well as Trunks, the kid version, are going to overhear something about him. I'm hoping that Trunks is going to get the idea. I'm curious to see how Trunks and Trunks are going to act when they see each other. Or like when he overhears that him and Mai end up getting together, or like he loved her and she's dead, and then he just looks at Mai and he's like, huh? Because he looks scared in the preview. The next episode is going to be so great. I can't wait, but that's my predictions. Quick synopsis. Trunks will fight Black, fail miserably, barely die, get to the time machine, make it back to present, and he will tell everybody what happened in his future. We will also get to find out more of what happened in Trunks' future. Can't wait. The next episode's going to be great. This episode was great. I could go on literally for hours about this episode, and I probably missed some things that I plan on talking about because it's just so much. It's just so much. But this video is running long in the tooth, so we're going to go ahead and put an end to it. I'm not going to really even try to make an outro this time. So I'll just see you next week, because these reviews will be coming, because now the hype is even higher than ever. Oh, before it ends, I know I do this a lot, I just want to mention that there's been no promotional material about this that is not by Toei officially, or Dragon Ball Heroes, which I guess is still technically official. There's been no episode title leaks. There is no manga to read ahead to know what's going on. This is Dragon Ball Super the way it should be. Nobody knows what's going on. That's how I've been wanting it to be from day one. Goodbye, people. Avita Zane, I am not Kagi Films. Bye. Music in this video provided by Catnip. She is going to be in the description down below if you want to check out some more of her music.